Hello everybody and welcome to my series of micro lessons. These short lessons will focus on common errors that are often made when writing a literature essay and will give you advice and guidance on how to fix them. Today we're going to be looking at how to write an effective conclusion. Okay, so what's the problem with conclusions? These tend to be something that people think either they don't want to include because it's just a bit of a nothing paragraph, or they're just not sure what to write in a conclusion. Now you can end your essay nicely with a very short, succinct conclusion. It just ties everything up and it is just a nice way and a proper way to end an essay. So what are the problems? Sometimes your conclusion restates the main body of your essay or your introduction, so it's just a repetition. Or your conclusion introduces new information, which it shouldn't do. Any new information should be in the main body of your essay. Or your conclusion doesn't really add anything at all and it seems a little bit irrelevant. So let's have a look at an example. So I'm going to be using the same question as I used for the lesson on how to write an effective introduction, just so you can see how the two tie together. So this is a question on poetry. This is based on The City Planners by Margaret Atwood. So I've got two examples of ineffective conclusions over here. I will be thinking about the errors and also how we can fix them. So when you're writing your conclusion, in order to make it successful, you do want to think about what you've proven in terms of the question. You don't want to introduce any new information at this point because you don't have time to really cover it in detail. And a good way of ending your essay is to consider the significance of the text that you're looking at and the meaning. Now, even though I'm looking at poetry today, this works for any literature text. So our first error example. Atwood writes a poem that is interesting and engaging and makes the reader aware of the issue she raises. Now, this is an example of something that doesn't really add anything. So Atwood writes a poem that's interesting and engaging. That's not really anything significant, and that could actually link to any question on any poem really. So we need something specific and makes the reader aware of the issues. What issues? So what have you proven in your essay in terms of the issues that she raises? So can restate those things. Obviously don't add new information, but restate what you've proven and then kind of think about the significance. And then we've got error example number 2. The City Planners is about urbanisation and contains a strong message. Atwood uses many methods in order to engage the reader and ensure her message is conveyed effectively. We've got a little bit of repetition there, and we're also not clear on what the message is. We're not saying that we understand the message that we've got from covering this in the body of the essay. So it's a little bit vague, a little bit of repetition, doesn't really add anything at all. It's a bit of a nothing conclusion. So let's have a look at how we fix it. Ultimately, so think about the kind of vocabulary that you're using to signal that this is now a conclusion. Ultimately, Atwood has effectively created a powerful poem that still resonates today. Atwood's ability to draw her reader into the issue of progress and urbanisation and question its validity is achieved through her skillful use of imagery. The reader is left questioning the very nature of progress and is forced to consider the extent to which both humanity and nature benefit from the constant move towards urbanisation. So we've really encompassed the big ideas, the themes that are covered in this poem. Also thinking about the significance. How important is this poem to us, to society, to the reader? What do we get from it? So this is a much nicer conclusion, really builds upon what would have been discussed in the main body of the essay. So let's have a look at how we got there. So again, just like with the introduction lesson that I did, you've got a 3-sentence introduction and you've also got a 3-sentence conclusion. So you are going to be starting with thinking about what you've proven in the main body of your essay. And I've given you some things here to help you. So you've got a list of guiding questions to help you develop your 3-sentence conclusion. Think about what you've proven in terms of the question. Think about the significance of this text. So either today is a poem, it could be a novel, it could be a play. Think about what we can learn from this, and you could also consider to what extent has the poet or writer successfully achieved their purpose, and is this poem or text and its message still relevant today? Success criteria: have your poet's name, your writer's name, whoever it is. Try and include a keyword from the question to show that you're coming back to that, you're proving how your response is relevant. And think about the message for the reader or the audience and the overall effect of this text on the reader. And think about the significance of this poem or this novel or this play. What's the significance? What do we learn? What value does it have in our society today? And just some words to show that you are summarising and concluding. So you could use any of these to indicate that you are now moving on to your conclusion. So as with the introduction lesson, I've also colour coordinated this so you can see exactly where my 3 sentences are. And my first sentence, what does the poet or the writer do? What are they doing in this particular text? So Attwood has created a powerful poem. That's what she's done. How has she done it? Attwood's ability to draw her reader into the issue of progress and urbanisation and questionability is achieved through her skillful use of imagery. So this is how she's done it. And we've also incorporated the big ideas here. So she's achieved this, she's looked at these big ideas through her use of imagery, and that also links back to the question up here. And what is the effect on the reader or the audience? The reader is left questioning the very nature of progress and is forced to consider the extent to which both humanity and nature benefit from the constant move towards urbanisation. So really thinking about what we've got from this poem and its significance in our society today. So here are my final top tips for you. Do comment on the message of the poem, its relevance today, or the text, the novel, the play. How relevant is it to our society? What is the message? Why is it significant? What is the writer trying to achieve? Have they achieved it? How well have they achieved it? Sum up what you think that you've proven in terms of the question and in terms of your thesis statement. Go back to that. Ensure that what you say is relevant to the question. Don't say anything random or anything that doesn't really fit. And keep to the 3-sentence rule. What does the writer do? How do they do it? What is the effect on the reader or the audience? So I hope you've enjoyed my micro lesson on how to write an effective conclusion. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any new content that's posted. Thank you very much. Goodbye.